right, so here we are. Good morning. Our video is working. I am looking forward to seeing someone not in the room say that you can see and hear me, because we are, I am moving forward based upon the assumption that we can't have anybody else using the Wi-Fi while we're broadcasting. And since no one is on Wi-Fi, if the broadcast fails, I apologize. My theory isn't correct. Okay, anyway, so that's it. I'm looking to see that someone out there in virtual land is here. And I know it's very tempting to not let me know you're here. But please let me know you're here, and I will give you a very special spiritual mind treatment if you let me know for what you would like me to do that. And just a couple more seconds, and I'm still waiting to see a viewer, so that goes to tell me that our viewers are usually everyone in the room. So our virtual, okay, somebody's out there, great. Okay, good. So if you can let me know that you can see and hear me, just give a thumbs up. Okay, Tina. All right, thank you so much, Tina. And you have won a special spiritual mind treatment. So let me know for what you would like me to do that, and I will do that for you. Okay, so time to know the truth. All right, I'm going to treat for creative newness and all the good that goes with that. Okay. So this word is being spoken for each one. And if there is anyone else or any place on this planet or any situation on this planet that you would like to have included, that you would like to have blessed by the highest truth, just think of their name or that place, situation now, and know that this word covers them, because this one infinite mind knows all. This one infinite mind knows what each one is thinking and feeling. It knows what each one is consciously deciding. It knows itself. I am that I am. And what it knows, it creates. Each one has complete and total freedom to know anything. And there is no idea that is outside the realm of thought. Anyone can think any idea. This is the ultimate of freedom. And with a creative law that creates what is thought about, this is the most amazing gift ever. The ultimate of freedom of choice and the gift of that choice being created, no matter what that thought is. There is no thought that is outside the mind of God. And it is the mind of God that creates those thoughts. And so each one is now being more thoughtful about what is being thought by them. And along with all the tried and true thoughts that all have already thought about, with all of the infinite possibilities that each one has already contemplated, no matter how much that amount is of thoughts, of ideas, there is infinite more thoughts to contemplate. Therefore, there is infinite more good to be experienced. To know that there is always a higher thought, a newer thought, a fresher thought, a thought that goes beyond all of the thinking of the past. To know this is to know the infinite possibilities yet to be, and to choose to know a new thought allows that infinite mind with its infinite potential for thinking to bring to each one those new thoughts, those startling thoughts, those fascinating thoughts, those thoughts that completely give the thinker of that new thought a whole shift in consciousness, a whole 180-degree shift in movement forward, a whole new world opens up to each one as a result of the power of a brand new thought that has never been thought before. This is the activity of creation, of creativity. And creativity is a quality of this God, and it is a quality of each one. So all stuck thinking, all habitual thinking, and all behaviors and patterns of living that are a rut, that are ingrained even in the brain channels, it's all nothing to do with the new thought that is waiting on the threshold of each one's conscious awareness right now. That infinite mind has a fresh new thought which changes all the brain channels, which changes and heals any scars, any ruts, any patterns of the past. It is a new thought that sets each one free, and each one is now inviting that new thought, something that has never been thought before, something which gives each one a whole new vista of what is possible for themselves, something which is so interesting and fascinating and delightful to think about, that each one is motivated to do something about these new thoughts, to bring them forward, to become the embodiment of these new ideas, to become a living, loving, laughing, talking expression of these new creative ideas. If anyone has ever thought that they are boring, that they don't think of anything new, that they're not as creative as somebody else, all comparing of one's creativity to someone else, as well as any self-concept that rejects oneself, any pattern of self-behavior, of rejecting the thought that he or she receives, of declaring oneself to be not good enough or not smart enough, or as well as any pattern of rejecting the possibility of being the bringer through of that idea, believing that one is incompetent or not capable of bringing it through. All of these thoughts is all by this word erased, evaporated, vanished, blown away, back into the nothingness from whence they came, because each and every new creative idea is a seed, and the vitality of expressing and growing the seed is within the idea. And whatever is required to bring the idea forward by anyone is provided to each one by the thinker of that idea. In other words, the idea comes perfect, whole, and complete, having everything necessary for its full and complete expression. And that includes equipping the thinker, the contemplator, with whatever qualities, skills, talents, opportunities, energy, intelligence, IQ, whatever is required to bring the idea through is contained within the idea itself. And so as each one embraces the new idea, he or she is embracing all that goes with that idea, which includes vitality, energy, which includes new behaviors, new skills, new talents, which includes the right support, the people, the opportunities, the experiences. It includes the knowledge, the know-how. It includes everything on divine level as well as human level. All is within the idea itself. And the contemplator of any particular idea is the embodiment of all that that idea is. And the experience of growing into that full embodiment is divinely planned, step by step, just like the idea of the universe is step-by-step unfolding from the so-called Big Bang or whatever was before it, but in those nano moments after until even now. All of it is orchestrated, scheduled, in effect, using the divine laws that are present step by step, intelligently, orderly, harmoniously. All of this is contained within the idea of the universe itself. This is the power of the idea that is now being invited by each one to receive an idea that is fully orbed, that is a powerful idea, that is an idea that changes everyone's perception of this world, that is the new glasses that sets everything aright, that new idea that is a force that is creating for each one an expanded experience of aliveness, of joy, of love, of harmony, of success, of delight, that creates for each one a life that he or she loves completely. And this idea, along with equipping each one with all of the skills and know-how, creating all the right situations, it is fully supported with the full sum total backing of the entire universe. And this support is total, and it includes all of the money that is a part of the unfolding of the idea. This idea is a done deal in the mind of God, and each one accepts it and refuses to say no to it. No matter what the world presents, each one is claiming the full power of this new idea and enjoying its unfoldment in their world. And so this is wonderful. This is health. This is wealth. This is joy. This is creative living. This is the life that God is living by means of each one now. I am grateful this is so. I release this word to that omnipotent, omniscient, omnipotent law. It knows what to do. It does it. And so it's done. And so it is. So it is. And that's the way it is. Good. And good morning, Margit and Debbie. Good morning. You're all here. Let's listen to Reverend Rich a little bit with some music moving forward. So let's take this moment. I have planted that seed of creative new ideas in consciousness. And so you can open to that fresh, new, inspiring idea or anything else that your heart desires. It's all available here. There are no limits and there are no rules. So just accept your highest idea of good. Let's open to it and let's watch ourselves as we experience it.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Mary VerCande, and I'm a practitioner here at the Center. We are a loving, healing, inclusive community that teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for our own growth and good of ourselves and the world. So some really new and exciting things are happening. Dr. Karen just treated for new and exciting ideas, so I want to share one with you. Starting in September, once a month, we're going to have, and I'm going to call it an experiential gathering here at the center. So September 18th will be our first one, and we're going to focus on peace. And we don't know what that's going to look like yet. That's kind of in the works, but stay tuned for more. So for those of you coming here, it will be a whole new experience. For those of you listening online, you will still get a morning talk that day. But just something new and exciting is happening. There's so many ideas flowing and growing around that. Also, starting soon in September, we have a new class called Mental Equivalence that our practitioner Susan Niedt is going to teach. And this class is a leap into a state of true potential by activating the powerful law of mental equivalence. For every formed thing in the universe, there is a corresponding mental image. Discover how to measure and expand thinking to create a larger mental image so that one's greatest desires may demonstrate. The class will be held over 6 Monday evenings from 7 p.m. to 8:45, starting September 12th and running through December 5th, so it'll be like every other week. The cost for the class is $110. There's a drop-in fee. You can drop in for $19. And the Zoom link will be sent to you once you register. The information will be on the website sometime this week. So look for that. Come and join that. Also on our website, you can request prayer. You can request a practitioner to work with you. There's a phone number there, and you can call and get a phone treatment in Spanish and English. So all that is available to you. So I encourage you to do that. And Susan's class, Mental Equivalence, if we look around, we can see how much abundance there is, right? But do we really notice? And just recently, I was on a photo safari in Tanzania. And we were up at the Tanzania and Kenya border, and we're in the safari truck, and the safari truck is parked on a little 2-rut lane, and we are surrounded by gnus, or wildebeest. And as far as you could see, 360 degrees around the truck, were tens of thousands of wildebeest. Wildebeest and zebras, and what you couldn't see because they're hidden in the grass, the Thompson gazelles, the Grant's gazelles, the impalas, the cats, the jackals, the hyenas, and just amazing. And my equivalent, my mental equivalent of what abundance was, went whoosh, right? Because all that was there. And then I realized not only were all those animals there, but tens of thousands of animals were grazing. And there was still grass everywhere you looked. It was provided for them. And if the animals are that well provided for, how are we not? And so I saw what my mental equivalent could be. So I encourage you, if you want to expand your mental equivalent, you want to see how much is actually out there for you, join Susan's class. Let's work together. Let's expand the good that we have and can receive and claim our good and welcome it in. And so I welcome you to this morning. Hope you get a lot of good out of this. So, Reverend Rich, take it away.
God is here I am. God is where I am. God is right here where I am. God is where I am. Protecting and supporting me. God is where I am. Providing all good things for me. God is where I am. There is no place it can't be. God is where I am. There is nothing it can't know. God is where I am. right here where I am. God is where I am. God is right here where I am. God is where I am. There you are.
There you are. Thank you, Reverend Bruce. Good morning, and God is where we are. Thank you. My name is Susan Niedt. I'm a practitioner here, and whenever you hear the welcome, you hear the words teach and practice. And that's really what it's all about. So I'm going to lead you in a practice because we've been having a lot of fun with this $500 thing, and thank you, Reverend Karen, for that. She just turned the air blower on me. And I'm sorry, that was totally random, but I get so excited when I come up here. But I'm not going to drop anything off the podium today. So,
Why not?
I know, why not? So I was thinking about the class mental equivalent of Karen's amazing treatment about ideas and manifesting new and better and greater ideas. So I'm going to lead you in a practice, a simple practice of manifesting, of seeing what we want and knowing it to be true. But in order to do that, I invite you first to think right now of this greater idea that you might have, of something that you desire, that you want more of or greater good about. It could just be the $500 practice. Maybe yours hasn't started kicking in yet, and so you want to just give that some more attention. It could be something like better health. So I'm going to give you a moment to just think about where in your life do you want to expand, so that we can head into this with an open heart and an open mind. So now I invite you to find that comfortable space, close your eyes, feel the support of the chair, and breathe. And I love to think of the idea of focusing on the breath as the infilling of good of God, because you can actually feel that breath coursing throughout you. And knowing that God is omnipresent, you know that is the presence of God. So as you're aware of that presence, and your heart is open to receive, I invite you to think right now of that good that you just thought about as it is already here. Think of it as already made manifest. What does that look like? So spend a moment. What does it look like? It's here. What do you see? Really get a picture of that. And if you're not a picture seer, think of it. Think of the way it is, right here, right now, as if it were already done. Because it really is. Infinite potential, everything is available right here and now. So it's here for you right now. What does it feel like? How does it make you feel? Feel that presence of good. That you had an idea, you had a thought, and here it is. So you see it, you feel it, you know it to be true, because that's what has to be. It's all here now. And as you sit here in this place of inner knowing, smile and get that feeling of that fun to which Reverend Karen referred. We have this power, this omnipotent power, this power that is omnipresent because we are one with the power.
and we can smile in that knowing. And now right here and now, feel that gratitude that wells up when we know our good is present and we know we move from good to greater good. And as we accept this truth for ourselves, I am going to read to you a wonderful piece of writing from Ernest Holmes in the first person, that you can accept these words as your own. My good is complete. It is finished. It is now here and is conscious of me and of mine. I thought it, here it is. I do not have to wait for my good. It is at hand and ever ready to spring forth and express itself to me. I accept my good and gladly acknowledge it to be my daily companion. My good is mine now, and I can see it, and I can feel it, and I know it to be true. So just sit with that wonderful thought as I speak these words, affirmative prayer, for each one here and each one watching virtually and each one who wants to hear these words. Because there is only good. Good and God are synonymous, and God is omnipresent. The presence of good is everywhere in all things, in all people, in all wonderful ideas being made manifest right here and right now. This one power is doing the work, and the good is unfolding as we sit here. The good is showing itself in all activities, in all areas of each one's life. And this good is joy. It is joy because joy is synonymous with God as well. So this smile that is present is the smile of that inner knowing that, yes, we are co-creators. And this moving from good to greater good is always, it is omnipresent. And each one here opens their hearts and opens their minds and is accepting this good and is sitting in that place of knowing. This is the truth, and it is the truth that sets each one free, that each one can receive this unlimited good, this infinite potential to express, to create, to be, and to let this being shine forth in a greater way, that each one can be served, that each one's loved ones can be served, that each one's community can be served, and the world and beyond can be served by the light of good. This is the truth. And I am grateful that I know this truth. I am grateful to release this truth to loving law. And we all say together, and so it is. Thank you.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for, what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's It's our hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I'll let you keep it inside. Now it's coming in loud and clear. I wanna must see through light. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about heart open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. Lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors for this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
All right. Well, if we aren't ready for an increase, it's not the fault of those who've been up here. Oh, okay. So I am taking as inspiration today some talks that I have in my cassette library of Robert Bitzer and then also a little bit of Dr. Stuart Grayson. And they did speak on money. But what we want to realize is we're taking money as a symbol of living the abundant life. As it is written, I have come that ye shall have life and have it more abundantly. Riches is every form of expression. It is everywhere, as Mary shared, the riches of the wildebeest all over the place. That is ours, but we must claim it. And so Dr. Stuart Grayson said something years ago that just popped out at me right now. When you look to the external for cause, it will give that external domination over me. So in other words, when we look to anyone, anything, any situation as cause or as that's where I'm going to get my good, that where we are looking now has domination over us. We are powerless before that thing, right? We cannot make someone, something change in order to get our good. We can't do that. And yet if we need my employer to give me a raise, or if we need, that person to do whatever, or if we need this one to love me, whatever. If we need that something now has domination over us, which means we are now powerless. We're a victim of whatever that external thing may or may not want to do, which may or may not have our best interest in mind. We cannot control anything on the external level, which I know it sounds a little bit weird, given that we're teaching the science of mind and you can have what you want, blah, 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 but really that's a very superficial understanding of what we are doing, because we always say it is done unto you as you believe. And so if you believe your good comes from this one loving you, or this one giving you a job, or the economy doing something, or the government doing something, you now become a victim of whatever that external thing may or may not be doing. And how many of us, right, think about the world as being necessary to be a certain way in order to have our health, in order to have our freedom, in order to have our well-being, in order to be able to pay for our groceries. The prices are going up. So I need the government to do something about the inflation. So those beliefs, I know we're having an experience in the world, but those beliefs that somebody's got to do something about it makes us a victim of all of it. And that's not what Dr. Bitzer and Dr. Stuart Grayson like to teach. And these two particular people, I knew them very well, very, very wealthy. Riches in so many levels. So I brought a poem, I found it in my money folder, by Jesse Rittenhouse. It was written 1850, 1950, that century he lived. And it had something to say. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have paid. Isn't that wonderful? And so that's what we are concentrating right now, is raising what we ask. Dr. Bitzer tells us that we have to be specific and in claiming what we ask. And he says something very interesting. I'll just start with the shocker, what shocked me. He says that we have to set our price. Where is it? My consciousness determines my money, and there's no limit to it. No limit to our consciousness, no limit to our money, no limit to our good, no limit to our love, whatever. And we have to expand our thought and break down our thoughts of lack and limitation. What we want to claim is my consciousness of money, of riches, of good, fill in your particular blank, far surpasses the check I receive from my employer, far surpasses whatever it is that you have in your bank account. We want to be living this life more abundantly. And so that consciousness of more is, okay, this is the good that I have, the facts of right now, but my consciousness exceeds this. We want to claim that, because what we claim, we become. And so we want to claim a consciousness that exceeds what we already have. And we want to do this continuously. That's called living. Always claiming more life, more livingness. Every single one of us who has been in spiritual practice, for however long you've been in spiritual practice, you should be that much more healthier, wealthier, happier, freer than you were before. So how's that working? I mean, I've been in this teaching for what, 40 years? So I should be like 40 years more. But Dr. Bitzer points out to us, and Dr. Grayson did too, that we must claim it. Because if we don't claim the more, we accept whatever is. Because that's what the human race does, right? The human race expects nothing. He says, somebody says something here in all my little notes, that most of the world is expecting nothing more, and so they get nothing more. And in fact, many people start expecting less. So I remember decades ago when I studied with Dr. Stuart Grayson, he said that he believed the world was getting worse. And back then, I raised my hand and I said, I don't. I really believe the world is getting better, and I see evidence of it. Well, 30 some years later or whatever, I realize that I'm kind of like looking at the world going, well, what a mess. And it's getting worse. And I have to keep reminding myself, wait a minute. I'm believing the world is getting worse if that's what I believe for myself. if I believe I am getting better, if I believe great, new, wonderful ideas are coming to me, if I believe more and more in this one divine presence, then the world has got to be getting better, even if it's just because I'm getting better. We have to believe this in order to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. So we set our price. He says, where does he say? He says we should always develop the idea of expansion, of increasing. If you can't do whatever you want to do at this level, then you can create the consciousness of the higher level in your mind, in your thought. And again, we start with our awareness of God has got to grow. Years ago, I demonstrated this in my little world unbelievably. I was in a tiny one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan, up on the Upper East Side, and I was doing everything I could to get into a larger apartment, into a different apartment, you know. I had all these friends who were helping me, you know, get to know the superintendent of the building, and, you know, I mean, all these little tricks, whatever, and, you know, so-and-so died, and oh, get in line to get the, oh my gosh, right? You know, Manhattan can be crazy. And so I was doing my spiritual work, and I was treating, and I almost had a fabulous new apartment building. The deal was all set, and then at the last minute, the landlord decided that he didn't like me and said no. And there I was, and here's the moment of power. It was Saturday. I'm in this teeny little apartment where it was so narrow that my two cats and I could not walk side by side through the building. Dare I share this on the internet? The bathroom. The bathroom. There was a toilet and 2 litter boxes on either side. And one time I remember being there, and the 2 cats, all 3 of us were in position facing out. And I was like, oh, we didn't have cameras, you know, on cell phones then, but what a shot that would have been. But that's how big it was. Anyway, I remember after the landlord said no, I said, all right, that landlord has no power over me. It's my consciousness. And I just don't have the consciousness for a larger apartment. But I can get it by expanding my consciousness of God. And so I will just stay right where I am, no more tricks and running arounds, whatever, no more. I'm just going to stay right here, and I'm just going to keep growing my awareness of God, my awareness of truth, and at some point my higher consciousness will lift me up out of here and gently place me in my new apartment. That was Saturday. Sunday I got home from service, had a phone message on the machine from a real estate guy saying, go check out this apartment on Sutton Place. If you like it, leave me a message. I couldn't argue with him. I went. It was fabulous. It was for less money than the other place had been. It was the same landlord. So I got home and I left a message saying, I love it, I would love, but it's the same landlord, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I left that message, but I did say in all that blah, blah, blahs, yes, I love it, I'll take it. And Monday night, he called me and he said, you got it. Same landlord. But see, the point of power was when I said, that landlord has no power over me. It's my consciousness. And I can grow my consciousness. And really, how much did I grow my consciousness from Saturday to Sunday? Except for that moment when I took that stand. It's my consciousness. I'll just keep growing my consciousness. I know how to do that. And at some point, my consciousness will lift me up and gently settle me in that new apartment where I lived until I got this job down here in New Jersey. Hard to let that go. Oh, I got this great apartment. I didn't want to let it go. Karen, are we moving from good to greater good or not? And so I let it go. Because I'm never, hopefully, going backwards. Onward, upward, forward. When I'm conscious, when I'm aware, when I'm believing in the increase that Dr. Bitzer is telling us, right? We have got to develop the idea of increase, expansion as an everyday thing. We've got to be expecting ourselves to be healthier. Why? Because I've been doing all these stupid spiritual practices. Maybe all you do is just listen. Well, this is huge. Most people aren't. It only takes a little drip of consciousness for boom, tremendous good to manifest. So let's claim it. But we have to claim it. We have to say. I remember I was working a full-time job and starting to work here more and more. And at a certain point, this particular position was requiring more and more of my time. I had to let the full-time job go. And I was afraid to. And I was here talking to someone after service, advising them. And I said, if the only reason you're not following divine guidance is because you're afraid, then you must do it. And I was like, oh. And assorted various words after that, silently to myself. But I was like, darn, I have to quit. I have to practice what I preach. And I went in the next day. Trust, even though I didn't. And I went to my employer and I said, something's got to give. I can't work full time anymore. I have to find a full-time job. I'm sorry. And he said, whatever you want. Come in 1 day a week. I don't care. Because of my consciousness there. Because he knew I was treating for the company. And they were thriving. Even though I had never said a word. But he knew. He knew. He knew. And so everything got rearranged for me, right? When we depend upon principle. The principle of life is a principle of growth. Do you realize that? It's not just, I'm enjoying my life. No. We were not created to just enjoy our lives, to just accept the bounty that is coming to us. We are created to do something with the bounty that we receive. He says somewhere here that we're only as rich as our ability to use. So whatever it is, love, we want more love, we only experience love according to our ability to love, to give love, to think of love, to be the presence of love. So fill in that word love with anything you want, right? You're only as healthy as you're using your body. If you're just sitting around on the couch, right? How much health do you need for that? I know, before I started walking 15 minutes a day, however long ago it was, 20 some years ago, I can't remember. But I felt worse when I woke up each morning than I do now. I remember it. I remember waking up thinking, well, if this is what old age is like, then I'm out of here. I'm not interested in having more of this. And then I was divinely guided to, guess what, start moving. And as a result, the more I use this body, the more this body can do. But it takes all that goes with it. He says, opportunities belong to those who will accept them. We have to accept. I did that spiritual mind treatment for this fascinating new idea. Well, it shall come to every one of us. And I know every single one of us, when we receive that great idea, one of two different things will happen, but it's really the same thing. We'll go, yes! And maybe you get like 1,000,000 great ideas, right? I know I've got some people here who get 1,000,000 great ideas. When you do a download, it's like, vroom! And you go yes to all of them, and then you're running around like crazy, and you end up exhausted, and you can't do all of them, da-da-da-da. Okay? That's the same consciousness as this. You get this fascinating new idea, and then immediately begin thinking about all the reasons why you can't do it. But you know it's a really good idea, so you try to get someone else to do it for you. And you'll help, right? But so both of those, both of those have within it, and so what I'm saying is this is going to happen to all of us, one or the other, or some version of it. We invited a brand new, fascinating idea, and it's going to be bigger than we have been living. And so we've got to grapple with that. And it may be, yes, I say yes to it, but the subjective is going, no way, honey. You think you're going to do this? We're not changing a thing. And it'll sabotage us, right? Have you had that, right? Which you say yes and you overcommit and then you can't do anything. Or, all of a sudden you get sick. Or, I've certainly shared more than enough of my physical little ailments, which every one of them has emerged because I've claimed more good. And my subjective has said, no, you're not. But you just have to move through it. You have to say to that subjective mind, you are not in charge. My conscious mind is in charge. And we have to develop that consciousness of increase. Come along, subjective mind. Get used to changing because we are increasing. We are growing. Life is growing. We must grow. I rewatched the best moments of the Shawshank Redemption last night. Speed through all the alphabets and just watch the two moments as each of those men work their process to claim their freedom. Their freedom. And they both had completely different things to do, but they did them because they made that choice to claim their freedom. And so we have to do that too. And in that movie, one of them said, where we either have to get busy living or get busy dying. And living is growth. So we got to grow. All right. Okay, so here's the thing. What I get depends on my consciousness, not on others. And we want to say to ourselves, I have the consciousness of the right pay for me and the right expression. We have to claim our consciousness of money, right? And he says, he treats for definite amounts. And he says, and I love this about him, he's traveled first class all his life. He feels he's where he belongs. Think of yourself as a first-class citizen going first class all the way. And he gave this lovely little story about stewed prunes. And he said eating the stewed prunes at the Ritz Hotel, they were $4.95, whereas the stewed prunes at the little deli was $1.99. Were the stewed prunes better at the Ritz? He thought so. Okay? He says, we've got to get rid of that within us which says, I can't afford, which says, I won't pay the price. I'm so filled with thoughts of, I won't pay that price. Whether it's Netflix, I'm not paying that for that. Years ago, when ministerial school loomed on the horizon for me, I was toying with the idea because I thought it'd be fun, not because I wanted to be a minister. I just thought it would be fun to study some more. And then I heard the price. And I had the thought, I remember the thought, that much? Well, that's not worth it to me. I'm not paying that price. The next week, I received a check for that exact amount out of the blue. And all I thought was, well, I guess that's not a good enough reason to not take the class. So I'll think about it some more. Well, anyway, you know what happened. But that consciousness, I'm not paying the price. He says, I believe in paying a person's price because I have a price. He believes we should set our price. As that poem said, any wage I had asked of life, life would have paid. The mental equivalent of the form our good takes requires us to set a price, set a quantity, set some sort of experiential amount. It requires us to set something more than what we've had before. So as I think it was Susan who was leading us in that meditation of imagining some tremendous good, whatever, I was imagining an experience of life that I couldn't put into words because I've never had it, but I've had similar experiences where I felt that way, and all I could think of was I want more of those kind of surprising, amazing, wonderful experiences where I'm in a position going, wow, thank you, God outside and within me, thanks, wow, who gets to do this stuff? I've had so many of those experiences, and I want more of those. Wow, whoa. This is living my life in a greater, larger way. And so if it requires me to set an amount, then he also claims then we need to have the consciousness of that amount. All that goes with it. And so for those of you who have been part of our increase of monthly income exceeding $500, this past week I've been treating that we receive the wisdom in how to use it. How to use the increase, because it's a part of it, right? The consciousness of this new idea is not the consciousness of getting the money and blowing it. No, it's the consciousness of growing into this is natural, this is normal, and this is how I now use the increase. And this is just the beginning of the increase. But we have to begin right where we are. We have to accept it. I remember the very first time I did this particular series of treatment, I would be treating and I would see pennies on the ground. And it was like, here, pick up the penny. It's dirty. Shut up. Pick it up. So I pick up the pennies, and then I remember claiming, wait a minute, why can't I see nickels laying around? So I claimed I see nickels all over it, and then I did. And then I said, dimes, why not dimes? Then they became dimes. Quarters. Then I claimed dollars. I was walking down the street of Manhattan, and right there in the middle of the sidewalk was a dollar bill. And I reached down to grab it, and the people inside of the bar pulled it away. It was attached to a string, and they all went, ah! I was like, all right. But I may be embarrassed, but I claim that dollar. It's equivalent or better, whatever. No, it was horrible. I was embarrassed. I just wanted to die. But these things happen. But then there was a moment when I saw a $20 bill on the floor inside a building. That $20 created such angst in me. Maybe it belongs to somebody. I should find out who have it. Maybe I should pick it up and wave it around. There was nobody around. Maybe I should turn it in. Da, 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 da. It's $20. It's not a dollar. It's not a penny. It's not a nickel. It's not a dime. It's $20. It belongs to someone. It's my job to find out who that is. because I thought it's so much, because I don't even remember what I did. Yes, I do. I don't remember what I did with it because it's too painful. Seriously? Seriously? So we have to accept the growth. And that growth, whether I picked up the $1 or I picked up the 20, that's just informational experiences to show you where you have to grow. Where you have to grow. And something in you knows where you have to grow, right? It's where you're scared. It doesn't mean you need to force yourself consciously, right? Because the subjective mind will whack us in the end if we're not ready. It means I have to grow my consciousness. I have to grow my dependency and trust and faith in the divine principle. And I have to build up that consciousness until the only thing that is between me and my greater good is my choosing it. And to choose it in fear. And that requires a skill, right? It's a talent to know when it is time to quit the job. And when it is time to save, to keep that job and to keep building up the consciousness. With that new apartment, I took a stand. I said, I stopped trying. My consciousness will lift me up. And then it did. I did that in job after job after job. Once I was in this teaching, I would be working or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I've absorbed, I've grown as much as I can, I'm ready for the next job, let's see, I'd like to do this a little bit, or tweak it a little bit that, or have more money or something. Okay, now, infinite mind, provide me, lift me up out of here, and gently drop me into the next position. And it did it over and over and over again. For a number of years, I just went from job to job, each one growing. And so, that's living. We need to name our best idea of the new form we want to grow into and realize that more will be expected of us in order for us to receive it. So if I say $500 more money, hey, there's a consciousness of increase that $500 represents that I have to grow into. For me this week, I've been treating for all of you and myself wisdom. Wisdom. I cannot handle this increase, this next increase, without some new wise ideas on what to do with it. Because the best I've got was the way I've always been doing it, which was good enough for the fear of lost consciousness, right? I got to squirrel things away. I got to prepare for the rainy day. Oh boy, Dr. Bitzer said in his talk, he said, no, don't tell anyone. But he said, I've never saved a penny in my life. And I can't tell people this because they get all upset. And they've said to him, Dr. Bitzer, you got to save for a rainy day. And he said, I never had the rainy days, but they all did. So I thought about that. I'm like, okay, I'm not saving in case, my employer fires me, or this holds out, or that, or, my health doesn't hold out. I'm not saving for that. No. I am investing in my future. It's a totally different consciousness. Are you investing in your future growth? Your future growth. Years ago, I decided I want to be a philanthropist. That's a whole different consciousness. Well, I am. I'm on a board, a philanthropic organization's board, and all we do when we meet is decide how to, grant the money away. so it's a new I kind of had in my mind that I have so much money, that I am with my money, but I am a philanthropist with the money of God, which does not happen to be in any kind of account that has my name on it right now. But it's an idea. So what price are you setting on your life? If you want to know what your price is, take a look at your money right now, and how you feel about it, how you're using it. But with any area in your life, you want to know how much worth you believe you have, how much love you believe you are worth, how much good you believe you can accept. Take a look at what you've got. And that's just the starting step. It's not where you are destined to be forever, and it's not where it's only going down from here. We want to build the consciousness of a building consciousness. And we do it incrementally by setting the price, increasing it, increasing. He says, as your consciousness of money grows, live in it. Identify with wealth. What you look for determines what you're unfolding in your experience. We establish that price and live at that level and express everything at that level. And so whether you've got that consciousness, I have to work for a living, or life is a struggle, or my grandparents, the consciousness that they lived by and taught me so well was, you work really hard and then you die. And I was in this teaching, and I did a little review. What did I inherit from each grandparent? And I'm like, I got that from my grandfather. Thank you very much. You work really hard and then you die. And I'm in this teaching. I want my life to be easy. I want my life to be joyous and abundant, exuberant expression of the living vitality of spirit within. What does that look like as me? Well, I'm living into it, right? I'm living into it. And so can you, and that's what we're expected to. Again, let's think about that wise statement of truth. I have come that ye shall have life and have it more abundantly. Don't forget that second part, because that's what living our lives is about. So, got a lot to think about here. Reverend Rich is ready to support us in something. So let's have a song, and then I'll come back and do a treatment, right? Okay.
I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. The love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. no fear as I share gratefully the love that I give always comes back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I am, I give to myself. Jack Fowler.
Yes, and thank you for singing your song again. He did that at my request. God is right where I am.
And this one I settled on one key.
You settled on one key today. Yes. It was great. And I need to hear it a couple more times so that it can be in the back of my consciousness when I need God to be right where I am as I go around in the world. So that's how I use Reverend Rich's music. So let's just know this. There is only one life, God's life. And God, even though it's been creating this universe for a really long time, is still fresh, vibrant, new, creating right now, this new day, everything in this universe, and seeking new arrangements of things so that totally new species and totally new, wonderful opportunities for expressing life and to take the form of that life in wonderful new ways is always there, always present. Right now, a brand new something is emerging. And so that is true right where God is, and God is right where each one is. And so right where each one is, there is a brand new idea of living and expressing this life that is perfect for each one to contemplate, to accept, to embody, to get involved with, to grow into, to enjoy all the good that is part of becoming a full expression, a full embodiment of this new idea. And so these ideas exist, and with all these ideas are even greater ideas of money and the way to use that money, a whole new way of thinking about how to handle this thing called money, a whole new way of thinking about how to handle this thing called life. Wonderful relationships, brand new ways of approaching the expression of this life on every form of expression, on every plane of action that is happier, that is freer, that is more joyous, that is wonderful, that is healthier, that manifests as each one healthier than before and wealthier than before, and just having an easier life than ever before. A life that is worth living every single precious moment of expression. This is the gift of life that is given, and each one is fully participating in bringing this great and glorious life into reality as their world, as their own true, real self. This is the truth. It has the full backing and power and authority of the universe behind it. Each one claims it and is forever different because of that claim. And so each one's life is even more abundant than ever before. I'm grateful this is the truth, so I let it go to the law. The law does this because that's what the law does, and so it is. And that's the way it is.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
Great song to set us off for the week. So that's it, folks. Go forth and prosper. Whatever that means. Okay. All right, Tina. All right. Thank you. You are welcome. Abigail, good to see you. All right, Debbie, I think I've got it. All right. So goodbye, everybody. I'll see you next week. Toodles.